Thank y'all for coming today. It's good to see everybody. I'm Pam Lynn. I want to say something about that river trip on the Pecos River that we went with Susan and Rooney. Well, the first time that Ron and I ever went on a river trip, we were going to the convention in Indiana in '74. And we went through Missouri, and there was this river called the Current River. I said, let's go down that river. It looks like a lot of fun. He said, I don't know how to canoe. I don't know how to paddle. I said, well, let's do it anyway. And it was great fun because we didn't have to paddle. It was called the Current River for a reason. Anyway, so later on, when Rooney and the guys started doing the Texas River Rat thing, and we went down the Pecos, that was only our second river trip. This was a 52-mile trip, as I recall. There wasn't a whole lot of water. And I remember one point where, Ron and I had borrowed canoes. We didn't have canoes at this point. And everybody would start paddling, and before 5 minutes were up, we'd be the last ones in the line of people. You know, they'd all disappeared. And at one point we pulled up, and Kathy Freidenfeld and Noble Dunson were sitting in their canoe. And they had their paddles up, and they were yelling at each other, and she was crying. It was one of those kind of rivers. It was really a tough river. But anyway, Ron Ralph was an expert on his second river, and that's the way Ron was. But the thing I really wanted to say about that river trip, I think this was the right river trip. Maybe it was a different one. I don't know, does anybody remember Ron being especially frugal? I mean, you know, he didn't spend a lot of money on stuff. That's what I mean. So we went on that trip with y'all, and we took cans of tuna and crackers. That was it. This was for a week-long trip. That was what we were going to eat. So we get our food out, our lovely little canned tuna out, and here's Rooney. He's got this big, was it a gun thing? It had guns in it originally, but it was packed with food. And first night he brought out Chinese food, and we're looking at him while we're eating our little tuna fish stuff, you know. And then the next night, Rudy brings out steaks, and we're eating our tuna fish. Ron's not saying a word. Tuna fish is good for you, right? But I think Rudy took pity on us, and we got a bite of the steak, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I've never forgotten that part about Ron. And I'll only give you one more example about Ron. We had very little furniture when we first moved into our house. I'm still living in that house. It's chock full now. But it was mostly empty when we moved in. And I said, Ron, we've got to have a sofa. Damn it, I don't like sitting on the floor anymore. So one day I came home, and he bought this sofa. I bought it for $25. It had been sitting on the curb. And you sat down on it, and the dust just whirled around your head. And I don't know if y'all, did anybody else experience this with him? No? Anyway. Yeah, well, I have a whole lot more examples, but I don't want to go into them. He will be missed. Absolutely, Dan. I'm so lucky. I'm so glad that you had all that time with him. And I know he loved you, Natalie, and that you had loved him. So.